I mean, I want
Better say that, yeah. Now that he has raised.
I'm just gonna have a conversation outside the room.
Okay, so it is now 4:30 and I'd like to call this July 21st meeting of the Delphi Redevelopment Commission to order. And if the members could introduce themselves, please.
Christina, I start.
Eddie Irish. Spencer Kingery. Cameron Yates.
Anita Rowland.
Michael Tetralt.
The first order of business is the review and approval of the minutes from our May 21st meeting.
Great job on the minutes too.
Welcome.
Make a motion, we pass the, approve the minutes from May 21st, 2025, Delphi Redevelopment Commission meeting.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye and an aye, motion carries. So the next order of business is the review of the financial status, and we do have the June TIF settlement statements, and I believe you checked with Matt on all of these, is that correct?
He hasn't gotten back with us on any of the changes or anything. I assume they're approved.
I was surprised that the Delphi Deer Creek, which I think is the west, the area west of Main Street, was so low.
The one that we tried to get renamed.
Yeah,
That, I seen that.
but probably the hardware store isn't considered complete, and it would have a year before we would start drawing from that, but pretty good chunk coming out of the Birdberg, which is nice to see. That would probably represent the 5 houses that were built
Prior.
prior, sold and now collected TIF funds. And we don't have a statement yet for the interurban, is that correct?
That is correct. It wasn't on the tax rolls last year. So it'll be next year.
And the TIF for that will go to pay the debt, the bond. Mostly, unless there's something else extra. Okay. You want to take us through the financial statement?
Like Anita said, in June, we received actually 3 TIF payments in the amount of $70,874.11. And the balance to date in the account is $184,364.10. And we don't have any invoices for this month.
Any questions on the financials?
It's nice to see some ones in there.
It is.
They're a long time.
Long time.
Is there a projection for like once that first phase of the Burn Bray Farms, like 40 something houses are built? Is there a projection for like what that would do to these numbers or? Is it
They
all
would go up.
I mean, they go up, right, too, right?
To give you a ballpark, I guess, so this, like, Anita mentioned, this was 11,000 was from the 5 that were built in 2023.
Right.
Currently, there's 5 active that's nearly completed. Plus 3, so right now we have 8 permits out, so you take 5, that's gonna be at least 11,000 more on next year's tax roll. And then an additional 3 if they get those done, so it'll be at least 11,000, and that number is just gonna continue to go on, so it's just a ballpark, I guess, for.
So we could see that going on, I guess. And just a reminder, it is a residential TIF. And so we have a commitment to the school corporation, arrange a meeting with them to discuss probably, the next next year, when we do our statements to the underlying district, we should plan on making a payment. I think it's up to 15%.
Which they are announcing this evening, the new superintendent. So once we get her settled in, I'll invite her to, like them.
Yeah, we could do that or try to just don't meet
Yeah.
with her and,
Sure.
but yes, she said we could be one.
Well, I say her, I'm not sure. Don't know who it is, but yes,
See,
might be him. Don't know. But still, I still have, the previous superintendent that was here for a year.
and, so if there are no questions on the financial status, then I think we're ready for project updates. And Jonathan, you want to take us through the 218 easements?
Sure. So for the record, Jonathan Blake, RGL Solutions, with principal offices at 1125 Wabash Avenue, Terre Haute, Indiana. So project 218, I was working with Miriam, your legal counsel, on getting the legal descriptions, not the descriptions, the actual easement documents prepared. So we have all of those. I was actually working today on getting the parcel packages sent out. So those are ready to be sent out, but they've not been sent yet. We actually found a couple of errors in the legal descriptions for some of the easements. So, like a west was missing or a township was missing. So we did work with BS to get those updated. Those corrections have been made, and those parcel packages are ready to go out. So just kind of as a reminder from last time, the process will be, we'll send those packages out. It includes a cover letter that says, this is the intended project, this is why we're asking for this easement, and then asking them to reach out to schedule a meeting with me so that I can go out and walk the easement area with them, make sure they understand the intent, and then talk through what donation might look like, or some type of easement would look like. I did actually have Shannon and I met with the representative of the Andersons a couple weeks ago. Mentioned to them that we would be sending these packages out. He actually gave me the contact information for their, he didn't, not director of operations, but basically corporate relations individual. So he put us in touch with that individual. So that's who that package will go to, and then the other property that filled with theirs at the same time. So those will be going out, I would say tomorrow, since I've got those put together. Great. So, and just a reminder, there are 6 easements that we're going to be upon. So the intent would be to get them donated, but obviously if somebody requests finances or financial contributions, they want to come back to the redevelopment city to figure out what that would. So we won't make any commitments.
Very good. So what, do you have an anticipated timeline for? For getting the whole process completed?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say right now. With these going out this week, so last time I was here was in May, and we were expecting to have those parcel packages out by now. But because of the errors and just time to legal review, it took a little bit of time to get all that ironed out. To nobody's, fault, just the way things worked out. So my anticipation would be at least hear something back from property owners within the next couple of weeks, at least to make that initial contact. If we don't hear from them, then I'll start knocking on doors.
What's the time frame for them to respond? And then if they don't,
I give them 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from the day they received it. So I'll send them out certified, so I'll know when they get delivered. I don't make them sign for the packages, but post office actually,
Just so you know.
just so I know when it gets delivered. Yeah. Sometimes if people get something that they have to sign for, they don't pick it up, so you end up spending $8 or $10 per piece of mail that gets returned to you. So I typically just do them certified and then or register on it too.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
usually give them 2
that's
weeks.
wise, especially with the postal service.
Some people think they're getting summons for court or some other
the new document, but yeah, 2 weeks is what I give them, and then, if I don't hear anything, I'll start talking.
So if we were to have another meeting in August, then we should have some.
Some type of
Some
update, yeah,
Yeah, very
and I can certainly communicate with the board, as or I can communicate with you, Nita, and share with the rest of the board if you want.
Yes, thank you very
Get towards that point.
There'd be two different ballparks of, or timeframe, then if nobody disputes or wants, wishes to have payment, it'll be obviously expedited and a quicker process versus the, going through all the world of, if they do.
Yeah, and if they do request payment, typically what I try to do is, so I have a real estate license, so I can some level of assessment on what cost should be based on current prices, and, there's obviously a factor that comes into play because it's an easement, so it's not a full taking of the property, right? I mean, you're not actually taking a portion, but you have an encumbrance on top of it. So it's not, paying a full price per acre that you would if you were buying the property.
Right.
But try to, basically go off of current land records, put a 10% factor in there. So say a piece of property is valued at $1,000. An easement typically would be around 10% of that value, so $100 what we would look to pay for that, maximum. You don't have to go the appraisal route. We do this, for lack of a better term, estimate what the value is. I always try to go more on the conservative route. Try not to lay all the cards on the table, if you will, just to make sure that protecting the client, protecting the city, and making sure that we're up to the project moving forward. So, yeah, 2 weeks is when they would have time to respond. If they don't respond, I'll go out and start knocking on doors. If it's, if we say it's the Andersons or it's a corporation, the city will start tracking down who we need to speak to better to engage in those conversations. We do have, Miriam and I agreed on it's a shorter form easement. It's not a long lengthy form, which is good. Sometimes people get a little antsy and want their legal counsel to review it. It just takes, just bogs the process down. So we've agreed on a shorter form. Still meets all the intents and purposes, still provides all the protections of the city in terms of maintenance and upkeep and, access. But it's a little less scary for a property owner, especially since we've got some private individuals.
Great. Good. Any questions for?
Is there a legal route, like you say there's 6 of them, what if number 3 says in the last one not?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, then it would be really a determination of the city and or redevelopment commission on whether or not you want to pursue eminent domain, which is certainly in the redevelopment commission's purview.
We would
But-
rather not do that, of course.
Yeah,
but it
ideally, that's not the best route. So, our hope is that, we can secure these. It's a little, I will say it's a little, this project's a little bit different than what I'm typically used to from the standpoint of, we have a route, there's a legal description describing, where they want this infrastructure to go. But there's no design plans, as I understand it right now, for that actual sewer. So it could fluctuate, it could change. So typically you would have a design done, and then you'd go get the easements to meet that design. This is kind of an alternative method where there's a route. And if we secure all that right of way or that easement, then they'll design to that as opposed to the other direction. So from your perspective, if say number 3, right in the middle says, no way. Well, there's then other routes that we can try and maneuver to accomplish the same goal, but a little different direction.
but it might be tough.
Could be. Could be. So, we hope we're able to work with everybody, to meet the current route.
And then, I think one of the things we would want to pursue is, you know, can redevelopment funds be used for the design?
Yeah, I mean, certainly is well within the redevelopment statute, for you to do that if you so choose. It's a matter of financing and how that.
Right, I think we would want to see, at that point, what, are we getting any leads, for the 218? How successful, have we been with marketing it? And I mean, we want to make sure that it is, that, if we have someone who says, okay, I want it, that then they don't have to wait 2 or 3 years.
Right.
Before they could actually occupy it. So,
Is there a marketing strategy in place to market the 218 separately from anything else?
Shannon, I'm gonna defer to you.
Yeah, the economic development, we've been marketing it. Might be something that we might think of having a plan done. Other than that, it's on us.
So really, we then need to put something together that would help market it. Because we've got it listed on, do we have it on Crexy? Where do
We have it on the state site,
So it's on
Looped in.
SSI sites, okay.
CoStar, Facebook,
It's on
our website.
So for Rail Ready, it's on a couple different platforms. I know what you just mentioned. That's the big words, right? The keywords Rail Ready that. Remarkable.
And it should be on the REMC, one of their economic development websites as well.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Mayor, do you have any updates for us?
So behind us here on Front Street, last week the crews completed the retaining wall, I believe, and now we're gonna start working on some sidewalk. Obviously weather been a little bit of a factor, but they're continuing to work on that. The projected finish date for that is gonna be, this has changed since I received it last week, but it's gonna be August. I'll keep everyone posted on that, but again, now concrete crews are coming in for sidewalk, then we'll do street work. Try to wrap it all up with some resurfacing and tying all that with some landscaping and get it open. The goal is before Old Settlers and Bacon Fest. Whether that happens, the tight time frame, but yeah.
Weather permitting.
Weather permitting, yeah, so. Like I mentioned earlier, Bowen, we had 5 active permits, and if you've been out in that area, those houses are erected and. Almost completed, so we had an additional 3 permits come in last week or the week before that. Are now being reviewed and get ready to be approved and get started on this, so we'll have a total of 8.
Have they set pricing for the 5 that have been?
He sent me pricing and I asked how he's marketing that and getting it out to the, he said there's a sign at each entrance, they can contact the realtor, but that's the only pricing that I've seen.
Yeah,
So-
that actually advertised.
Yeah, they actually advertise it with he does have a realtor.
So, but has he set a price?
Starting at this amount or.
Not that I've seen, and I asked that, cause I get asked a lot of questions on what they're selling for, and what's, so. He said he's running all that through his realtor and. But I haven't seen it on any.
What realtor is?
It's an in-house realtor that they're using out there. I can't remember if I was trying to inquire about them.
It's on both, I'll get that, it's on both those
I
sides.
can say those houses out there are probably in number 3, at least.
They're, if I remember correctly, they were. Higher threes.
I agree.
All,
I
everyone.
was too.
I feel like a long time ago, when they talked about it, they said it would be, like the bottom would be 3.
Yeah.
So that was
And
like
the
2 years
The
ago.
purpose of the homes that they're putting up now are different areas, right? Because they have different prices. If you have by the retention pond versus the woods versus on a
Bigger lot size, that's there.
right. So that breakdown, I haven't had an official document sent to it, but other than he says it's something that his realtor has and they're putting it out at my request, so. Yeah,
Yeah, if you receive any documentation on that, it would be fine, forward it. Interesting to follow.
yeah. Other than that, not really already sees the thing, but pickleball courts are. I guess the revamping of Riley Park, the basketball courts and all that, they are moving very quickly. They are
This morning.
paving today, they paved the basketball court, and tomorrow they'll do the tennis courts and pickleball, and then they gotta let that sit for 30 days while they wait for it to cure, and then we'll coat it, and yeah, so exciting, we're moving very quickly, so yeah. Other than that, just CCMGs and as far as the RDC growth, we're moving forward with projects and hopefully completion of several here soon.
Very good. Any questions for the mayor? Any other business? One last motion to be made.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I guess we get to leave.
I know.
I know.
Oh, yeah.